So I am blessed to have the opportunity to talk to and interact with lots of different entrepreneurs. And I spent some time thinking about, what makes these people successful? What makes a good entrepreneur? What makes somebody really be successful in what they're doing? And so there was some things that I started to notice that I just wanted to kind of talk about a little bit. I think first and foremost is, a good entrepreneur, they're open-minded. They're willing to look at things from a lot of different angles. They're not just stuck in one zone of thinking. They're creative thinkers. A good entrepreneur, things are going to come up and you're not always going to know the answer. So you've got to think of a creative way to solve this problem. So you've got to be able to think on your feet. You got to be able to think creatively and try to, differentiate yourself from everybody else. So I think that's another really great trait of a good entrepreneur. Good entrepreneurs they're confident. They feel confident in what they're doing. Even if it's not 100% of the time, you're confident enough to go out there, to take that risk, to start that business, so there is something there, you've got it. You're confident enough to do it because it's a scary thing. I remember first starting a business, and even though I had the safety net of a job, having the, taking that risk, taking that leap, that was a big thing. And as an entrepreneur, you have to be willing to do those things. You have to be willing to get uncomfortable. That's how you're going to grow. That's how you're going to learn, is through all these experiences. But you've got to be willing to take that action first. So you got to be an action taker, I think good entrepreneurs also learn from their mistakes. And this is something that I don't think people really talk about, but too often, or maybe often enough. But, through the mistakes is how we learn and how we grow. And I can think of so many mistakes that I've made, and thinking that I knew how to do something and then I do it, it didn't turn out the way I thought it would, or it completely failed. And so you have to take a step back and say, well, what did I learn from this? From every experience, every failure, big or small, even small failures like hiring, I would say hiring the wrong person could be a big failure too, just depends on the situation. But, I remember having to let somebody go and taking a step back after that was over and thinking, okay, what did I learn from this? And that particular experience actually led me to bringing back a core value that I had thrown out initially, because we had 4 core values, but then we had thrown one out. But then when I had to let this person go, I realized that core value is actually very important. And so we brought it back into the organization. So, it was a mistake that I made, throwing that out, not thinking it was important enough. But then I took the time to evaluate the situation afterwards to say, okay, that was important. We need to bring that back. Same thing with making a system change or a process change, anything like that. I had a direct mail campaign fail recently. That was painful. I've been doing direct mail and marketing and flipping houses for a really long time. And I did this mail campaign, and I did a 6-week, I did everything that I know to do and did it the right way, I thought. And it failed. I got nothing. And so, it's like, well, now I need to step back and see what went wrong, and we changed some stuff. I changed some wording in some of the mail pieces and mailed out to another list, and I got calls on that one. So taking that time to, see what happened, learn from that mistake is really big in being an entrepreneur, because you're gonna make mistakes. You can educate as much as you can, but then when you actually get in there and you're doing this and you're having that experience, things come up. And if you can't evaluate that experience and see what you learned from it and what went right and what went wrong, that helps you grow for in the future. It helps you avoid those mistakes later on. I feel like good entrepreneurs are great problem solvers too. They try to think of more than one way to solve the problem. There's not always just one set way of doing something. So having that ability to think outside the box and come up with different solutions, and reaching out to other people too. You have to be humble enough to ask for help when you need it, whether it's like a coach or a mentor or a mastermind or something like that. If you need help, you have to be able to say, I need help. So being humble enough to do that will also get you further as an entrepreneur. So those are a lot of traits that I have seen in what I consider to be good entrepreneurs. So it's not always perfect, but I think thinking about some of those traits and working on some of those things will help you become a more successful entrepreneur.